Our first guest tonight is a very talented actor you know from movies such as Whiplash, the Divergent franchise, and Top Gun: Maverick. You can see him in the limited series The Offer, which is streaming now on Paramount Plus, and also stars in Spiderhead, which begins streaming on Netflix June 17th. Let's take a look.
Mark, I mean, look, man, I've been on some crazy-ass project teams, right? But this one doesn't feel right.
Jeff, you know, I sympathize, but only to a point. Listen, I gotta take off my friendship hat for a second and remind you, your presence in this facility, while technically a punishment, is a privilege, is it not? You applied for it, you were approved for it. You could just as easily be at stake with a general pop than you really would be playing pitch and catch, in your case catch, with the likes of Rogan. You don't even want to know what he did in his last prison.
Please welcome back to the show, Miles Teller, everybody. Welcome back to the show, Miles. I'm glad you're here.
How are we doing?
You have so many projects to talk about, but I want to start. You had a real honor. You grew up in South Jersey, and you got to throw out a first pitch at a Phillies game. Were you nervous?
I was pretty nervous. I tried to cancel it the last minute.
Okay.
Because I was like, I've done it before. It just really adds like another layer of stress to the day because you're doing interviews and you're...
Absolutely. You know, I would say to the week. I did it exactly one time, and I would never, ever do it again.
So this is my second time, but I threw from the rubber, which that's a big thing.
Did you do... So did the first time, did you do front grass?
No, I did the rubber both
the
times.
rubber's a big deal, to go from the rubber, and
the photo they get is always like... No, you don't have to clap on that. It's just always, I always think of like Judd, you know, Apatow's photo, and just the amount of like, because you're so nervous and you're trying so hard to kind of
Also,
aim the ball.
it's a face you very rarely see actual pitchers have.
Yeah.
I want to stress mine is worse than this, so I'm not judging.
But I noticed you didn't bring your photo.
No, I didn't. Them's the rules.
It's your show,
when you get to host, you don't bring the photos. I'll tell you what I didn't get. So was the bobblehead given out at the game you threw out the pitch?
It was, yeah.
Now that's pretty cool right here. You got a Top Gun.
That's a much better
bobblehead.
face.
I mean, just the co-branding.
I know. That was pretty sweet. Like as a diehard baseball fan and kind of that little bit of crossover was
it's very
really
nice. Like there's some real nice details to it, and congrats on this movie, which so Top Gun you finished in 2019, and I think it's been well reported on that it was delayed until people could go back and see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Did it feel great knowing you had this really exciting thing that people were eventually going to see, or were you just like chomping at the bit, desperate for people to see it?
I'd done a good amount of movies beforehand, and so I didn't feel like I needed this movie to ensure future work. But some of the actors in it, it was such a big showcase for them, and if anything, I really was just bummed for the fans, because the fans we found are just like insane. They're so ravenous, and they've been waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, we got some here.
Yeah.
We got some. I knew I could feel the Top Gun fans in the audience warmed up a little bit. But no, so really, I was bummed for the fans, and I couldn't wait for them to see it, because I knew, as you've seen, the movie's just been like, it's been a rocket. So
you were actually, again, much has been written about the fact that you guys were actually. John Hamm here. He did not go up in the planes.
He's in loafers.
He did nothing.
I know.
But you were in these planes.
Oh yeah.
And was it awful?
It was. I'm not signing up to do it. Even like I was at the Indy 500, and the Thunderbirds, who were amazing. They fly in formation. Everybody wants to take me up now and fly, and I'm like, they go, oh, we can take you up when you're in Las Vegas. And I go, honestly, there's not a place I'd want to go less than, like, not Las Vegas, but I'm saying I would not want to go up in your jet in flying formation after being in Las Vegas.
That's a good point, right? You stay out late, and you're like, what am I doing this morning? Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot I said yes to that thing. That's not going to be good.
Did you think you could fly a plane now after being up there with pilots? I know you weren't doing the actual flying.
It depends on who's in the plane.
Yeah, that's a good point, right.
Like, if it's by myself and I had to, I'll bet on it. But if I had to, if it was my wife or, my dog or my mom or something, I wouldn't want that responsibility, Seth.
I don't think I would be able to do it with my mom in the plane, just because I think she'd have a lot of Like, no, no, no.
Yeah. It's like I did it in a movie, Mom, relax.
You just relax. You're going too fast. Wait, did you
Fanboy,
have
fanboy.
what was your? Didn't you have like an allergic reaction to a plane or something?
Yeah,
What was the story?
I told you that in private, Seth. No, so I thought that's what we were. Yeah, I landed. We got done. They're called a sortie, basically, when you go up and you do some stuff. And so we landed. I'm just like, man, I'm not feeling too good. And I was like I was really hot and I just started itching like crazy. So I get out of the jet and I'm just covered in hives, like head to toe. They instantly, I go to a doctor, I do like a blood analysis, this and that, whatever. I'm in an oatmeal bath that night. Like, I have sensitive skin anyway. Yeah. Truth be told, like Irish, Scottish skin. Like, no dyes, no, nothing, just
ideally
basic,
no sun.
Nothing. I can get some sun.
You get a little sun, yeah.
It's Top Gun, baby. So anyway, I go to the doctor and my blood work comes back and I have flame retardant, pesticides, and jet fuel in my blood.
Oh my God.
So that's what I thought. But then I thought, wait a second, this is actually kind of cool. So then I go to set the next day and Tom's like, so how did it go, Miles? What did they find? I was like, well, Tom, it turns out I have jet fuel in my blood. And without even skipping a beat, Tom just goes, yeah, I was born with it, kid. And it was one of the
there's your Top Gun.
Yeah. So that was like a very Tom moment for me.
Now, your director also directed Spiderhead, correct?
Yeah,
which
Joseph
is really
Kosinski.
Cool. Obviously, you did a great job with that. This is a very different kind of film. This is based on George Saunders' short story, one I love a great deal.
Yeah, so it's based on the George Saunders short story in The New Yorker, Escape from Spiderhead. It's myself, it's Chris Hemsworth, it's Jurnee Smollett, Joseph Kosinski directing it, and we filmed it during COVID in Australia. The movie basically is Chris Hemsworth's character runs a facility. He's kind of half hippie, half mad scientist. All the inmates in this facility voluntarily go there instead of kind of going and serving prison time. They're all criminals. And we are under the experimentation of Chris Hemsworth and a lot of different drugs. And some are fun, some are terrifying. And so that's kind of the premise, how we deal with inmates too, and how we should deal with criminals. And if it's really about reformation, then why are we putting them in a prison system where they don't? I don't think they come out of prison being, model citizens. I don't think that's really what our prison system is doing. So there's some larger themes there, but yeah, I mean that's kind of the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like we said with the introduction, you've been so busy. The Offer, I'm enjoying a great deal. This is about the making of The Godfather, and it's incredible, this movie, I've seen so many times, how little I knew about all the hurdles leading up to making it. It must have been such a cool project. Going into it, did you know this backstory?
Not really. I think I knew a little bit about how they didn't want Al Pacino, but I didn't know they didn't want Francis Ford Coppola. They didn't want Marlon Brando.
Studio executives sometimes nail it.
It's just... And so it was just, there were a lot of obstacles, but the biggest one that I realized was the mob. I mean, the mafia, to shoot in New York, they really did control all the Teamsters. They were the Teamsters in New York, so they talk about they would go into a building like in Little Italy or whatever it is, they'd come out and all their equipment would be gone. So you really did kind of have to have like a handshake with the mafia because they didn't want The Godfather to be made because they said the mafia is a word that's, keeping Italian-American immigrants down. It's really in this movie, it's only going to make us look like savages. We're not. We're proud people, and et cetera, et cetera. So also in the movie, the word mafia doesn't exist one time. They took that out of the script, and that was a big reason why they were able to get it made, actually.
That's incredible, because you definitely knew it was about the mafia, even without the word in there.
Yeah. I know.
They were like, don't worry, I took care of it.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna know. It's a great show. You're wonderful in it. Hey, thanks so much for making time for us.
My
I really
pleasure.
appreciate it. Miles, tell everybody the finale of The Offer will be released Thursday on Paramount Plus, and Spiderhead begins streaming June 17th on Netflix. We'll be right back with Busy Phillips.